Although we don't have a huge Puerto Rican community here, a good number of Puerto Ricans did come to Hawaii at the turn of the 20th century to work on our sugarcane plantations. And of course, they brought their incredible food with them. But what I'm going to be making this time isn't strictly Puerto Rican, but a local Hawaiian favorite, influenced by Puerto Rican flavors, Pastele Stew. You won't really find Puerto Ricans eating this outside of Hawaii. It's really a mutant variation of a beloved Puerto Rican dish. We'll start by mincing up a nice half bulb of garlic. When you cut the bottoms off the cloves, and then give them a good whack with your cleaver, the skin should slip right off. Then you can just mince them up into nice small pieces. Next, we're going to cut up a good 4 pounds of pork butt into about 2-inch cubes. So, what the heck is Pastele Stew? Well, pasteles are basically the Puerto Rican version of a Mexican tamale or a Chinese zhong. It's a masa wrapped in a leaf with a meaty filling and Puerto Rican spices. In Hawaii, we've somehow dropped the S and call them pasteles instead. But along the way, the Puerto Ricans here said, instead of taking the time and labor to wrap those treasure-filled packets, why don't we just throw the ingredients in a pot and make a stew out of them instead? After frying the garlic to a nice golden brown, we'll add in our meat and start to layer in those wonderful Puerto Rican flavors. First, the basics. Some nice fresh cracked pepper for the aroma, and some good Hawaiian salt. For many local dishes, good Hawaiian salt is the only seasoning you really need. But here, we're going for some other flavors. The base of our stew will be 2 cans of tomato sauce. Can you just imagine the outrage if someone said, I don't feel like wrapping a tamale, let's just make a tamale-flavored stew instead? Then, a spice blend that is quintessential to the Puerto Rican flavors, Sazon Goya. Obviously not used in any of the Asian dishes that I normally make, I hadn't even heard of this spice blend until I first made this stew. But the flavors here are the real deal. And then, another spice that I hardly ever use, annatto seeds. But you will find annatto used in other cuisines around the Pacific and Southeast Asia, like Guam and the Philippines. Now, cover the pot and let it stew on low heat for about 2 to 3 hours. About half an hour in, we can throw in some of our other ingredients. First, a nice sweet onion. Now, another Caribbean ingredient I almost never cook with, plantains. And no, plantains are not the same as just green bananas. Bananas are much sweeter. Plantains are starchy and thick. They're more similar to cooking potatoes than bananas. If you've never cooked with them, peeling a plantain is nothing like peeling a banana. The skin is really tough and it really sticks to the flesh. Now, you've seen me make other stews the French way, thickening them up with a roux of butter and flour. But Pastele Stew uses grated plantain to thicken it up. It gives it a really unique texture, different from the smoother roux. Finally, an ingredient that I am much more familiar with, cilantro, or Chinese parsley as we call it here in Hawaii. Just chop it lightly so that it will release its fragrant aroma. Now, here's an important step that you cannot skip. Every 30 minutes or so, you need to skim the fat off the top and stir your pot. Pork butt is super flavorful, but kind of fatty, and you don't want your stew to taste greasy. After the first 30 minutes, throw in the onions and grated plantain. Did you see Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show? I never really thought about how similar to Hawaii, Puerto Rico was. When I saw the sugarcane plantations represented in his show, I realized the expertise they must have brought when working on our own sugarcane plantations. The climate is so similar, and I bet they felt right at home. Now, this stew normally calls for another ingredient, bell peppers, but I don't really care for them, so I'm leaving them out. When the stew is almost done, we'll throw in 2 cans of black olives. Bell peppers and black olives are such unique vegetables to throw in a stew. So different than the carrots and celery that you normally see around here. Finally, that Chinese parsley makes it nice and aromatic. Now, since I've bought these plantains, and I don't normally cook with them, I want to make another classic Puerto Rican dish to accompany my stew, tostones, or fried plantains. As I mentioned, we don't actually have a huge Puerto Rican community here, so I had never actually heard of tostones before, until I was playing Spider-Man, not the Peter Parker version, but the Miles Morales version, who proudly shows off his Puerto Rican heritage. He mentioned that one of his favorite dishes is his abuela's tostones, and I just had to see for myself what the fuss was all about. So we cut up these plantains into about 6 pieces each. Then we fry them up on medium heat for about 2 minutes on each side. Once the plantains have a nice crispy brown exterior and a soft warm interior, comes the fun part. Smashing them with your cleaver into little medallions. I was kind of nervous when I first did it. But the way that it just collapses so beautifully into a little flower shape was really satisfying and so much fun. Though they're over a continent away, as fellow islanders, I feel a certain kinship with them. When you have all your pretty little golden coins, we're gonna fry them up again at a little higher heat so they're extra crispy. Once again, 2 minutes on each side should just about do it. I've never been to Puerto Rico. I almost had an opportunity to go for work once, but the deal fell through. So I'm so curious to go one day. If you want, you can sprinkle a little salt on them right as they come out, but it's not really necessary. Instead, I want to make a nice Puerto Rican flavored dip to go along with the tostones. You can use sour cream or yogurt, but I love mayonnaise, so that's gonna be my base. And to get that Puerto Rican flavor, another packet of that Sazon Goya. Since I bought it, I have to use it, right? And that's it! My Pastele Stew. And my tostones to go with it. One day I had a thought. If you could take a pastele and turn those flavors into a stew, what about a Chinese zhong stew? So I decided to concoct a zhong stew. My family thought it was an abomination, but I rather liked it. So I might cook it for you one day. Let me know if you want to see it. Oh, but that Pastele stew was just so flavorful. It's no wonder that this became such a beloved Hawaiian favorite. Oh man, that is so good! Honestly, Sazon Goya is such a different flavor profile than any of the Asian or Pacific Island cuisine that I normally cook. Mixed with the savoriness of the pork, it's so mouth-watering. Just look how beautiful those tostones are, with that golden brown color. But the texture is what makes it truly amazing. Forget potato chips or French fries. Miles Morales was totally right. these tostones are where it's at. Extra crispy crunchy on the outside, soft and a little denser on the inside. It's fantastic. I can feel the kachi-kachi music with every bite. Though they're a continent away, our islands and theirs don't seem so nearly far apart. And I'm so happy that they brought some of their unique flavors to weave into our culinary tapestry. Until next time, Joy Keen and a hui ho.